If you go near my wife again, I will put glass in your throat the next time I see you. Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, going to go over a story titled Military Revenge Story. And guys, this is all about a guy, he's British, and he's going to share his story about an experience he had back in 2013 while he was stationed over in Afghanistan. While he was stationed over there, his wife and him, they originally were based in Holland. And he found out that while he was away, in potential danger, that his wife was being hit on and some guy was putting the moves on her. And when he went back, he obviously wanted to handle it the way a man should handle a situation like that, but obviously he could not. So he comes up with this very clever way to get even with the guy down the road, plays the long game for his revenge, and it certainly, in my opinion, is warranted because you don't mess with another man's wife or woman. And you guys will see here what he does, and I find it quite entertaining. So, jumping into it, it says here, this is my first post, please be nice. This was back in 2013 when I was based in Holland, British Marine for context. I had been married to my wife for a little over 18 months when I was deployed to Afghanistan. My wife had a job at the British delegation on base and got to know pretty much every Brit and their husband and wife. One day, we were directly targeted by a vehicle-borne IED. Now, whilst it wasn't uncommon for there to be a threat to a coalition forces in general, being targeted directly felt more personal for obvious reasons. That was also the day I found out about an RAF guy back in Holland had tried to get it on with my wife. I found him on Facebook and, still feeling rather raw about Terry trying to blow me up, messaged him words to the effect of, if you go near my wife again, I will put glass in your throat the next time I see you. The next day, one of my bosses, who was also RAF, messaged me on Facebook to say that this guy had been over to his office and basically tattled on me. This guy's making the moves on his wife while he's away and literally could be killed at any moment. And this guy says to him, certainly which is warranted, and this guy goes and tattles on him. Last time I checked, the military doesn't look too fondly upon guys trying to obviously hit another's wives and cheating and all that type of thing. He gave me a friendly warning / heads up that this guy could have gone to the MPs and reported me. I have no idea what would have happened, but I acknowledged the warning and said it won't happen again. My boss had my back and actually told him to wind his neck. You know, our world's messed up and really been pussified, if you will, when a man can't pretty much say to confront another guy, if you will, who's been doing him wrong, and he's going to get in trouble for that. You got to be kidding me. There was a time and place where they had duels. If someone dishonored you or disgraced you or something like that, you could challenge them to a duel. Well, we don't have that anymore. Fast forward to when I got back from Afghanistan. A few days later, a few days had passed, and I was starting to settle into a normal life again. My wife brought it up, and after explaining she didn't mention it at the time, due to my reaction the first time, that an Army Sergeant Major had tried to message her via Facebook. He told her she was beautiful and wanted her number. She promptly blocked him. I was pissed off to say the least, but I understand why she kept it until I got back home. I'm back on home soil. Sadly, he should always be able to know what's going on, but in the danger zone, it can be up for debate whether he should know what was going on or not, and she kept it quiet. Who knows? But he's back, and now he knows. The next day, I went to our department and spoke to my other boss, an Army captain. I told him what happened, and he said, leave it to me. He basically had a chat with him, and nothing came of it. I felt deflated and even more pissed off. Again, the last time I checked, the military frowns upon this type of behavior, so I'm surprised there was no repercussions or anything here. This leads for him to take this into his own hands. Justice has to be served in one way. That was until our senior military officer came into our department. He welcomed me back and asked how my tour was. Still pissed off, I said, it was good, sir, with the exception of Sergeant Major douchebag trying to get around my wife. He was understandably a little taken back. About an hour or so, he emailed me saying that he feels the need to do something official about this. It's about freaking time. Something I had forgotten was that the colonel and sergeant major belonged to the same regiment, so having one of his own behave this way had clearly gripped him. I told him the full story and he provided screenshots of what Sergeant Major Douchebag had said to the missus. For this to go official, my wife had to provide a statement. Unfortunately, my wife is very non-confrontational, and she says she didn't want this to continue. There is a little part of me, guys, in the back of my mind that has to wonder if there was more to this going on than what is being said with the wife. I mean, there's a certain stereotype here about the wives when the husbands go away, are deployed, etc. But for the sake of the story, I'm not going to get into that and take this at face value what he's saying here. But I think a lot of you guys that watch me here and other channels know what I'm talking about. Anyhow, he says, I respected her wishes of not wanting to provide a statement, but hatched a plan that would be 3 years in the making. The timing is important. I emailed the colonel and said that the missus had declined. However, I felt the need for some formal recognition, so I asked the sergeant major douchebag write a letter of apology addressed to both my wife and I, which is to be signed and dated. This was granted. I received a said letter 2 days later. It said, Lance Corporal and the missus, I'm writing this letter to you both to apologize for the torment and anxiety you both must have felt from the messages that you received from my Facebook account. To the missus, nobody should ever be in a situation where they worry about going to work because of who may come through the door, especially so when they have the added stress of a partner being operationally deployed at the time. The anguish that you must have felt at this time is immeasurable, and for this I apologize. What a load of crap. I mean, that's what he wrote, but what a load of crap. He says, to the Lance Corporal, the guy writing this story, being operationally deployed is stressful enough without the added stress and worry about family back home. Support from home and loved ones is what carries many people through the tough times whilst on tour. For any undue angst I caused, I apologize. I regret any hurt and anguish caused by this issue and apologize wholeheartedly and unreservedly to you both, such and such, Sergeant Major Douchebag. What a load of crap. But now he's got something in writing, and can you guys guess what he may do with something in writing? As you're going to see, Sergeant Major Douchebag is married. He says, I now waited. I saw her the rest of my time in Holland, moved back to the UK to my new base, and waited some more. Almost 3 years later, after I received the apology letter, I looked up Sergeant Major Douchebag's wife on Facebook. I had known the whole time that we were out that he was married, his wife lived back in the UK, and he has routinely tried to cheat on her. This guy's a piece of work. I sent her the screenshot, which I had sent to the colonel. I also, before leaving Holland, printed off the emails between the colonel and myself where I requested the apology letter. I blanked out the colonel's details and sent the pictures of that. And then, lastly, I sent a picture of the apology letter signed and dated by her husband admitting what he had done. Sergeant Major is in for some trouble. Once I saw that she had read it, I blocked her, blocked Sergeant Major D-Bag and all his friends who had also been out in Holland at the same time. He finishes up saying, why 3 years? I remember him saying before he turned into a douchebag and tried it on with my wife that he had only 3 years left to serve. If my timing is correct, he was months away from his completing his 22 years and receiving a very nice pension. If his wife decided to go ahead with divorce, she could take half of his said pension, which would essentially F him over for the rest of his life. The end. Well, that is some good payback. You mess with my wife, especially while I'm away in the danger zone and could die at any moment, I'm going to mess with your pension, a-hole. So there you go. I think it's certainly warranted. I think it's definitely interesting that this guy waited 3 years to do this for the perfect timing at the last possible minute. But, hey, payback's a bitch. Don't mess with some other guy's wife or girlfriend ever, let alone when they're out in the danger zone. They could be off at any minute. So, anyway, guys, it's a quick one, but I thought it would be a good, entertaining story to go over. Be sure to comment down below, let us think about this. And also, guys, if you happen to come across a good story you'd like to share with me that you'd like me to do on this channel, by all means, email it to me, strongsuccessfulmail@gmail.com. And if you actually haven't checked out my other site, check it out, Strong Successful Mail, for articles and stories and personal stories dealing with men's issues, men's advice, that type of thing. Gotten to be very popular nowadays. And for all you brothers out there that have come over here from SSM channel, I appreciate your support. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.